Learn more.
Live from Lincoln and broadcasting across the state of Nebraska, it's the Average Joe Sports Show. This is the place for Husker sports with the biggest names, the best interviews, and all the inside scoops.
I got a front row seat with a big tub of buttered popcorn and a greasy half-live chicken.
Now, here are your hosts, Chris Schmidt and Elijah Herbel.
Welcome to it. Monday is here with the Average Joe Sports Show. Chris Schmidt, Justice Rhody. Elijah is en route from the bachelor party. I will read you and edit some of the texts he has sent. It has been travel hell for one Elijah since he landed in Omaha.
No kidding.
I don't know if he's in a windowless room. I don't know if rubber gloves have been used. I don't know if he is angered TSA. Usually that all happens when you're trying to board, but he has been trying to deboard. He's been trying to get off the plane. So we'll see if he's duct taped in row 3A. Like a unruly passenger. I think he's had about enough today. So we will get you an Elijah update. We'll get our starting 5 shout-outs going. Appreciate all of you checking us out with the Average Joe Sports Show in the stream. Like and subscribe. Can watch and listen every day on YouTube. Can listen all the time on the Average Joe Network. Here in Lincoln and KFOR, KFORnow.com, News Talk 900 in Columbus, Central Nebraska's Superstation, Carty Hastings, Grand Island. Plenty of choices out there on the radio as well. Also, Twitter, AJ Sports Radio. Follow that. Can watch live on Twitter/X. You've got the YouTube channel. You have the podcast to download and subscribe to on your time, on your demand. Just search the Average Joe Sports Show. Fire off an email if you want, the AJ Sports Show at gmail.com. We have got a monster ball game at 7 o'clock. FS1, 2 of the best in the business. Going to be calling it with Kevin Kugler, Nick Baugh. Of course, you got Jake and Kent on the radio. You love listening to as well. So it is all about it tonight. Amazing weather, and many of you are en route or will be posted up down in the rail yard getting some liquid courage to battle those 7-footers with your voice as Michigan rolls to town, smarting after Sparty did some demolition work on the road. So you have a blackout being called for. Connor Esijan, many Nebraska players taking to social media. Blackout requested, invited tonight. No, that does not mean double or triple Red Bull vodkas before you stumble into PBA. Not that kind of blackout, but wear black tonight at PBA, be loud, and as Nebraska fans will say, beat Michigan. Did you have to go find a black sweatshirt, or did you have it all ready to go?
I have a couple black sweatshirts in the closet, so it was pretty easy. When I saw that Dylan Raiola on a day's notice, it said, "Hey, we're doing a blackout." I thought instantly, "Oh, Dylan's been spending a lot of time in the high school basketball scene because that's usually what they do the day of." And I'm like, I think for Husker fans to get fully on board with the blackout, that memo should have been put out maybe a couple days ago just to give some people the advance notice. But nonetheless, we dug through the closet, made sure we had some clean laundry that was suitable to wear tonight.
Well, that's the way to go. 489-1240, 489-1240 to get in. 800-825-5865. So we'll dive fully into Nebraska, Michigan. We'll hear from Fred Hoiberg. What's happening with Big Red football on the recruiting front? Tim Verghese going to be with us in about 15 minutes with Inside Nebraska, Rivals.com. Mr. Blackshirt himself. I'm sure Uncle Charlie will be wearing black. Coach McBride at 5:05. Jay Moore going to be with us as part of the Blackshirt Hour. Get his thoughts on hoops. He's a big basketball fan as well. Starting 5 shout-outs. Let's get to them. Jeff Snitley, part of the Boulder Peace Treaty, is in. Arlo is here. says, time to go hunt some wolverines tonight. Uncle Jimmy, 63 degrees and beautiful in Omaha, says Uncle Jimmy. Uncle Larry says let's play anything outside. Junior was saying, hey, can we go golfing? It's like, well, not today, but maybe sometime this week. Rhody is here. NASCAR Eric checks in. Justin also says what's up and says, I'm in. I smell an upset at the vault tonight. You can hope, as a Nebraska fan, that gets handled. Kobe checking in. Not going to be it's going to be a tough game if Burke isn't available to go. QB1A says big game tonight. Tuck is here. It's like a family reunion every day. Hey, we appreciate all of you checking us out Monday through Friday, 4 to 6. Saturday morning, 7:45-ish, 10:30 live Sunday with the Average Joe Sports Show. If you caught yesterday, awesome. If you're getting to play catch up, we had an amazing 45 minutes with John Baylor, voice of Husker volleyball, JB, a dear friend to many of us, as he sat in and we just kind of talked ball with JB. Grateful Red is in all the way from Colorado. And it's not a Monday without Black Hills Brennan checking in from the tropical Black Hills. Steve is in, Jeff is in, and more comments from you. R Ringer 65 says nicer here in LNK than Sarasota, Florida. Not going to argue, not going to pick a fight with Florida weather. Skylar is also in as we get our shout outs going. How we feeling tonight about hoops, Justice, Nebraska and Michigan? I have a couple of different thoughts. One, it is prime opportunity for Nebraska basketball. 5 left. Now, what we don't know about this basketball team is where the hell's their head at? What team shows up? And Fred talked about it a little bit. We'll hear it right now. Cut 1, just about do you lay into them or do you kind of build them up? And the sense he was getting is they needed their confidence picked up a little bit after just such a bad outing, horrible energy, brutal start against Penn State. Here's Fred Hoiberg.
I know the sky is falling in mentality that you have when you have a poor effort, but my job right now is to get them back right, because if you're reading everything, we're the worst team in the country right now. And after last 15 minutes, if you looked at that, we were the best team in the country. And that's the emotions, trying to keep them in check and getting them back to where we're even through whatever is going on with our team. If you listen to what was being said after Northwestern, oh man, these guys may not lose again. And then you listen to what's said after Penn State, these guys may never win another game. You have to stay even in this business. You can't look and listen and read everything. It'll drive you nuts in this business. So my job these last couple of days was to let them know we are a damn good basketball team. And we are playing for something right now. There's a lot of teams in the country that are not playing for anything at this point, except for going out and being the role of the spoiler, which we've had those years early. And you got to embrace that, and you got to try to go out there and play as hard as you can. But we are playing for something right now. We are guaranteed 5 more games. We are guaranteed 200 minutes of basketball, about 3 hours and 20 minutes on the court. We have 19 days left in our season with those 5 games, hopefully beyond. And, with those 19 days, 3 of those are off days. We have basically 11 practices left. So
Fred stopped there. Cut 2 continues on with Coach Hoiberg on what they're really facing. Yeah, they're facing a team that's a half game out of first in the Big Ten conference standings, but really it is about Nebraska tonight, and they are in good position based on what's in front of them, but they've also put themselves in a tough position because of, who they've got to take down tonight. More from Fred.
There's a lot of good things right now with where we are. understand it with how disappointing that game was at Penn State. Not only Burke, but one of our more important guys that was 8 for 8 in that game has 2 fouls in 2 minutes. So there's a lot of things that happened in that game that contributed to to the loss. Not taking care of the basketball early gets teams confident. We have to be better than that. But where we are right now, the reality of our situation is we are in a good position. And 3 of our last 4 are at home. What more could you ask for at this time of year? And you just got to go out there, bust your butt and do everything you can to put yourself in a position to have a chance to win. Now, that being said, we're playing, one of the best teams in the league, one of the best teams in the country that has found a way to win. They've won 9 games by 4 points or less. That's incredible what they've done in Dusty May's first year. They're coming off what I would think is a disappointing game for them. What happened to them last night, they've been doing that to other teams with their physicality, with their rebounding. And, that poses a challenge for us, obviously. Hopefully we'll have Burke back. I don't know if he is back, how many minutes he'll be able to play. We're going to have to shake the rust off and, get him out there and, hopefully give us some high quality minutes. We're going to need him. Wolf is one of the more unique players that I've seen, not only in the Big Ten, but in the entire country with his ability. He almost had a triple-double last night. And, Golden is playing incredible basketball. He's averaging over 18 points per game. And then their guards, they're physical, they're tough, they're long, and they can make shots. So this is going to be a heck of a challenge for us. But I'm excited to get back in this building, excited to get back home after a long road trip, 2 of them that we've had this year. But we're going to throw everything we got at them. And, we get 5 more opportunities to hopefully put ourselves in a great position to continue playing basketball in March.
4-1 gets you dancing. Tonight is a monster statement, another ranked pelt. It's another big-time boost for the Big Red when you look at some of the teams they've been able to take down home and away. Tonight, can't really Febreze what happened against Penn State, but it is a change of conversation. Justice, it's as simple as being ready. Can Nebraska be ready tonight? Is it maddening that we've got to talk about this team being ready this late in the season? I bring it up because that's the flat out truth about this team, where the inconsistency is real. They can look good and they can look terrible. And are they going to tighten up? Or are they going to just let it all hang out tonight and just go play ball with the urging and the energy of the home court? I mean, they are a different squad at home.
I mean, I completely understand what you're saying, and it is absolutely maddening that this team has not had a consistent mentality, and it just seems like at points they're completely checked out or their eye are totally dialed in. Either way, one thing can be certain is that home environment at Pinnacle Bank Arena will get them juiced. It will get them up. My question is more, where is Michigan's head at? Where, Sparty walked in there on Friday and Izzo basically took the old Board of Education out and put Dusty May on his backside and just said, here's a lesson for you, big fella. Welcome to the Big Ten. And that's the thing, is where's their head at? Because they got beat on their home floor and got out tough, out physical, turned the ball over too much. Now the question is, where are they going to be at? So the thing for Nebraska is, if you play at the level that you can play, for everybody in that locker room, if Bryce can be the dude that everybody knows that he is, if Jawan can go out and finish at the rim, play with intensity, keep guys connected defensively, if they can do all of those things, and if they can get some supporting pieces like Connor Esijan hitting shots, can Andrew Morgan be special on the inside and provide some versatility? Can they hit the free throws? Can they be consistent? Can they get to the rim? Can they stop guys from getting to the rim and not looking like a layup line like they did against Penn State? There's a lot of questions and a lot of uncertainty, but if Nebraska plays to the utmost capability, they absolutely can handle Michigan. The problem is Michigan's one of the more unique matchup challenges you'll see with what Wolf and Golden provide. And don't forget, Trey Donaldson's still lurking on the outside in case he wants some guard play.
Well, and, Michigan looked super mortal against Michigan State. Michigan State did a great job against Michigan's three-point shooting, a lot of tough shots, a lot of contested shots, a lot of shots that didn't even hit rim the final 5-6 minutes by Michigan. And it was physicality, and it was really good shot taking and making by Michigan State's guards, where they got to the rim, they got to finish. They weren't frightened at all of the 7-footers. They took it right to them. And the ball movement was exquisite by Michigan State. They made the extra pass. They got it to the high post. They got it to the paint. And Michigan State just went in and beat up, as they like to call Michigan. And it's a back and forth in that state with the rivalry, little brothers. So, no, I expect Michigan to be ticked off coming into tonight. I don't think it was a good thing at all that Michigan got walloped, out-toughed, out-physicaled on their home floor. And there's a lot of things that you can say about this Nebraska basketball team. They've got a difference maker in Bryce Williams. They've got the hustle guy in Sam Hoiberg. They've got a guy that when he stays out of foul trouble, Morgan is not an easy guard down low. He does a good job of finishing around the rim. And then you've got Burke, when healthy at 6'10" and playing his role, can be a really good rebounder and defender and has some range. But one thing you don't have consistently with this Nebraska team is the toughness, the mental toughness, and at times it's hit or miss with the physical toughness. Can they harness it tonight? Can they get willed to perform at a certain level? Tim Verghese on the way on a Monday with the Average Joe Sports Show.
Macular degeneration or dry AMD. You may be at risk for developing geographic atrophy or GA. GA can be unpredictable and progress rapidly, leading to irreversible vision loss. Now there's something you can do to
slow it down, get it going slower.
Izervay is proven to slow GA progression.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Izervay or avacincaptad pagel is a prescription eye injection used to treat GA. Don't take it if you have an infection or active swelling in or around your eye. Izervay can cause eye infection, retinal detachment, or increased risk of wet AMD. Izervay may temporarily increase eye pressure. Your vision may be impaired after an eye injection or exam. Don't delay. Ask your doctor about Izervay today.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Visit Izervay.com. That's IZERVAY.com.
T-Mobile 5G home internet keeps getting better. Get our fastest connection loaded with benefits. Get T-Mobile's best home internet starting at $55 a month with auto pay and any voice line. Plus, price lock. We won't raise your rate on internet. Check availability at T-Mobile.com/home internet. Exclusions like taxes and fees apply. Guarantees regular monthly rate plan price of fixed wireless 5G internet data with qualifying service. After $15 bill credit with postpaid voice line plus $5 a month without auto pay with debit or bank account. Regulatory fees included for qualifying accounts. $35 connection charge applies. Speeds vary due to factors affecting cellular networks.
New message.
Your social security number has been suspended. If you do not contact us, your account will be deactivated.
Scammers are aggressive when they contact a potential victim. Social Security Administration employees will never threaten you for information or promise benefits in exchange for information. In those cases, the call is fraudulent and you should just hang up. Don't provide any personal or financial information to these thieves. Call the Social Security Fraud Hotline at 1-800-269-0271.
This is Monster Jam. Witness big air, two-wheel skills, backflips, and all-out racing. It's the only place to see the world's best riders tear up the dirt in your favorite Monster Jam trucks, like Gravedigger, El Toro Loco, Megalodon, and more. It's big-time fun for the whole family. Monster Jam, as big as it gets. Coming to Pinnacle Bank Arena April 18th through the 19th. Brought to you by BKT Tires. Tickets on sale now at monsterjam.com.
Welcome, John, our new admin lead.
Thanks.
You've got your laptop, all your admin apps. Oh, and you'll be in charge of ordering food for the team. So here's your drawer full of menus.
Whoa.
You'll keep your receipts in this file folder. Whoops. Receipt confetti.
Oh, dear.
Oh, and all these sticky notes have everyone's dietary preferences.
Have you tried Easy Cater? Online ordering from great restaurants, tools to save time and stay on budget, digital receipts in one place.
We're going to need a bigger recycling bin.
Easy Cater, the smarter, simpler way to order food for your...
We're back with more. It's the Average Joe Sports Show with Chris Schmidt and Elijah Herbel.
All right, Elijah is en route. We will detained him, probably like TSA detained him. There was some sort of argument about baggage and extra charges. Tim Verghese with us from inside Nebraska, rivals.com, at Tim Verghese on Twitter is where you can find and follow Tim and catch his YouTube projects with Inside Nebraska, and Steve Marek as well. Tim, how we doing? Thanks for a few minutes, man.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, pleasure to join. As you guys as a company, are you guys allowed, or should y'all be allowed to keep Elijah on his own, just out in the wild? Is he allowed to just be out there on his own? I feel like he just causes a scene.
This was a bachelor party that he had planned for, I think, 6 months with a dear friend of his. So they went to Arizona for a little spring training, presumably some golf, and whatever other hijinks can occur in Scottsdale and in that region. Some of us would love to be 20 years younger and partake on it, but I am not, unfortunately. I'm the old man of the group. But yeah, should he be on his own? That's a hell of a question, man. But hey, we got no emergency phone calls or next of kin contact. Said, hey, he needs bail money, help him out. They may have been budgeted. I don't know. But you tell me, man. You tell me. Tim, I got a lot to tackle with you. And I know it's not Friday, but we haven't talked to you since last week. So interested to get your read from a recruiting perspective. What type of ripple effect does no Tennessee, Nebraska have on the recruiting front?
Yeah, it sucks from a recruiting standpoint. I mean, just in the sense that it would have been a cool game just for Nebraska to showcase, like Colorado was the biggest, kind of recruiting event for this last year. Would have been that same event for, that home and home on both sides of it. Because, quietly Nebraska's done, kind of laying some roots in Tennessee and in the Southeast in general. And, getting to see Nebraska and Tennessee was something they could have gotten. They're in Georgia. They're in a couple of these states where it's driving distance to get to Knoxville. Would have been a cool opportunity to potentially put the program on the map. But ultimately, at a bigger picture perspective, and this is beyond recruiting, the ultimate goal for this program is to make the college football playoff, host the college football playoff game. And hypothetically, again, not to say Nebraska's going to get there in 2037, but hypothetically, if you could trade off, hey, an early season showcase with an SEC team that ultimately could prevent you from making the college football playoff, winning the Big Ten, all of this, and you don't really gain a whole lot from winning that game on the flip side of it. Kind of balancing that with, okay, maybe at the end of the year, if this program does really well, we can host a game like that on campus where we can host recruits. We can do all these different things. We can generate even more money for the university. So I think hypothetically, again, who knows if the program gets to that point ever of hosting, a college football playoff. I know Matt Rule and his staff and the program in general would love to do that, but that's the trade-off they're making in their head. And ultimately, again, from a stadium standpoint too, what the stadium's going to look like at that point too, it makes sense. And ultimately, like, is that season in general, is that stadium going to be what you want to showcase? Like a stadium half under repair, probably not going to be full capacity, won't be as loud, won't be nearly the environment that it typically is. I don't think in-stadium recruiting and showcasing the environment is going to be a priority for the staff anyway, given the reconstruction that's going to be going on to Memorial Stadium.
Tim, the exposure part, though, is kind of where I'm focused on.
For sure.
You're right about the physical potential mess with construction and where things at in the process. The exposure part, though, man, there's so many guys from yesteryear that were out-of-state recruits, commits, great players that once upon a time you were on TV twice a year. You'd get your UCLA game or your kickoff classic or whatever it may be, and then you get your after Thanksgiving date with Oklahoma that the world of college football got to see. And then it kind of broadened out where Nebraska would be on TV more and more. They did a great job of finding their way and being part of those can't miss ball games. Colorado, Nebraska, Oklahoma, Nebraska, Washington, Nebraska. I mean, they were selective and right on point with a lot of their non-conference matchups. From an exposure standpoint, right now, Nebraska has good exposure. Nebraska's brand is known, and they're doing great work despite the on-field results not being as high as you'd like, but they're still working towards that. Right now, how good is that brand recognition? Is Nebraska known for being a team that's in the Big Ten? Is Nebraska known for a team of past glory? Is Nebraska known as a team that has a ton of NIL resources? Or is Nebraska known for Dylan Raiola? I mean, you tell me what your read is from kids you talk to.
Yeah, I mean, the read, I mean, parents still talk to their kids about what Nebraska, and that's the difference. You know, like a couple years ago, even a decade plus ago, kids would be like, yeah, I remember growing up and learning, and, you know, like Nebraska was a powerhouse. Now my parents tell me Nebraska was the Alabama or the Georgia back in the day. And so that's still the thing I hear the most is, yeah, Nebraska's, you know, that program that was there, and they're trying to get back there. But I think Matt Rule and his staff have done a really good job of selling that they're a program that is on the rise. They're a program that is working to get back there. And then, you know, obviously, I think the Dylan Raiola of it is kind of, you know, giving the program a little more of a spotlight that comes with having a 5-star quarterback on campus. But yeah, you're like the other part of this is like the NIL stuff has caught people's attention. Just the fact that they're a program that spends, they're a program that's aggressive. It's not something that necessarily draws high school recruits, because Nebraska is not a program that's paying high school recruits like a Miami, like you know, certain programs. But they are active from a transfer portal perspective, and I think there's an idea that if you come to Nebraska, you're going to get taken care of. Like nationally, between the facilities and NIL, I think that's a perception within recruits specifically: is you come to Nebraska, you're going to get taken care of.
Tim, I want to spin Schmidt's exposure question. I want to ask you this. Dropping Tennessee from the schedule is obviously not a great thing exposure-wise, but look at it from a perspective of they schedule in Northern Iowa. They schedule Miami of Ohio and Bowling Green. Let's say they spin this and they go out and they beat up on those teams that they schedule, right? And they handle business in the early going, and they're undefeated heading into conference play. Doesn't that help exposure a little bit with a lot of these kids and, you know, helping to elevate your status in the win total?
Yeah, being undefeated going into October helps with exposure.
For sure. It definitely does. But yeah, I on the flip side, I don't think it does match the exposure. Like the exposure Nebraska got from Nebraska, Colorado. You know, I think Nebraska wanted to replicate that and wants to replicate that and would have gotten that from a Tennessee series. And so that's tough. That exposure, you can't really, I mean, like, because again, Nebraska being one of those, you know those graphics that like retweet if your team's still undefeated, you know, they do that every week during college football season. Like that's Nebraska coming out of October being on that versus, oh, Nebraska was the third most watched game in September. Nebraska, Tennessee was the third most watched game in September. That's a trade-off in terms of exposure. That's tough, but at the same time, again, from a bigger picture perspective, you understand it. And I don't think non-conference series, I don't think this is a bigger picture like, oh, we're moving away from scheduling power programs in non-conference moving forward. I think this was something that was done at a tight time, understanding that, and that's why they schedule it the way they did. If they had a little more time, I think you maybe see a different program in that mix. You maybe see a Power 4 program taking that, maybe not in a home and home, but maybe they find a way to do that. And moving forward, I don't think you're going to see Nebraska duck away from Power 4 programs moving forward. I think this is just hey, the stadium's going to be under construction. It kind of makes sense from a financial standpoint. Let's just do this. The series has been delayed in the past. Now it's our turn to do it. I understand it overall, but yeah, I also understand on the flip side why fans would be upset, especially fans in Tennessee, Nebraska fans in Tennessee, or Nebraska fans in driving distance from Knoxville that were looking forward to being there.
Tim Verghese with us inside Nebraska, rivals.com, at Tim Verghese on Twitter, with us here on the Average Joe Sports Show. Catch us 7 days a week. So the thing that's we need to double down on as well, Nebraska moved for Tennessee back in 16 and 17, so Tennessee could have their Bristol game, all right? Was that against NC State, or I think it might have been
Virginia Tech?
Yeah, Virginia Tech. Yes.
Yes.
Virginia is. Thank you. Virginia Tech, Tennessee kicked off the year at Bristol, and Nebraska did Tennessee a solid. I think Nebraska politely said, "Hey, can you move it back just a smidge so we can have a full stadium?" And Tennessee's like, "Hell no!" And then I think you just walk away if you're Nebraska. I mean, there's that element possibility to it as well.
Right, absolutely. And also all of this has been done by ADs that did not schedule this game, like on both sides. It's just this is administrations and coaching staffs that just did not ever schedule this game, didn't plan on scheduling this game. And yeah, it's definitely interesting. And it's two places that have had some familiarity with each other recently. Danny White, obviously formerly from UCF. You've got obviously the Tennessee, the Eckler connection there. So yeah, I you're right though. I think there's something there I don't think Nebraska necessarily came to the table with, okay, we're taking this off the table completely. We're not doing this series. I do think there was a conversation, and we are where we are now.
Tim, we've got about 90 seconds here before we got to step away. So I need a little overtime with you if we can do that. But how are we feeling real quick about tonight basketball wise, Nebraska, Michigan?
Yeah. You hope for a bounce back. I don't know what to make of this team. I said it a couple of months ago, but before, at the start of the losing streak, and then, they kind of bounce back and it's like, oh, they're making the tournament. It's fine. And then they do what they did, against Penn State. And so it's very, I don't know what to make of this team. You hope, Pinnacle Bank, just being back in the vault, helps, kind of unlock this team and get them rallied up. But yeah, it's been, I mean, it just depends on which team shows up. It just feels like how many other Nebraska men's athletics programs have we had to say this about over the years at this point? Which team shows up?
Oh, it's a mentality. Can you show up tough and ready to go? How wounded is Michigan, or is Michigan angry?
Yeah. It feels like that. It feels like that the last couple of years of okay, is Nebraska finally going to go over and win that 6th game? Are they finally going to clinch that bowl spot? This feels like that again. Are they going to clinch it and make no doubts about it that they're making the tournament? We'll see.
Tim, hang tight. We'll hit on a couple of recruits Nebraska's in on. Tim Verghese with us here, Monday edition, the Average Joe Sports Show. And, of course, get Tim locked in with Rivals.com Inside Nebraska at Tim Verghese. More with Tim on the way on a Monday.
The semifinal in A6 between Elkhorn South and Lincoln Southwest. Join Chris Schmidt for the play-by-play. Coverage begins at 6 o'clock after the Average Joe Sports Show right here.
FM 101.5, 1240 AM, KFOR.
Outside is where winter adventure unfolds. On frozen lakes, icy landscapes, and snow-covered slopes. Feeling the cold air rush by as you race downhill. The freedom of gliding with ease and the warmth of being together. From epic sled rides to the fun of ice fishing, it's all right here beneath Nebraska skies. Start your winter adventure at yournebraskaparks.com. Sponsored by Nebraska Game and Parks, aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Associations and this station.
Shopping for new flooring is different today. Getting your questions answered, making the right selection, getting the best value, and installed quickly and professionally. Visit ostreetcarpet.com or shop our store. We'll answer all your questions and help you make the right choice. You'll be enjoying your new floor in just days for less than you'd pay elsewhere. Carpet, vinyl, wood, laminate, tile, and area rugs. We've got it all. O Street Carpet. 1732 O Street. Family owned and operated. Always the best value.
Have you ever wondered how estate planning could help you protect your family's future? Hi, I'm Dean Schneider, co-owner of Roper & Sons. We're hosting a free workshop at our South Lincoln Chapel on Tuesday, March 4th at 6 p.m., and you're invited. Attorney Andrew Loudon will walk you through important topics like wills, trusts, powers of attorney, and more. It's a relaxing evening where dinner will be served and questions are welcome. Reserve your spot today. Call Roper & Sons or visit us at roperandsons.com.
If you're living with dry age-related macular degeneration or dry AMD, you may be at risk for developing geographic atrophy or GA. GA can be unpredictable and progress rapidly, leading to irreversible vision loss. Now there's something you can do to slow
Get down, get it going slower.
Izervay is proven to slow GA progression.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Izervay or avacincaptad Pagel is a prescription eye injection used to treat GA. Don't take it if you have an infection or active swelling in or around your eye. Izervay can cause eye infection, retinal detachment, or increased risk of wet AMD. Izervay may temporarily increase eye pressure. Your vision may be impaired after an eye injection or exam. Don't delay. Ask your doctor about Izervay today.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Visit Izervay.com. That's IZERVAY.com.
Get the hard truth from someone who's seen it from the inside. Hey, this is Dan Bongino. As a former NYPD police officer, Secret Service agent, and host on the Fox News Channel, I'll bring Nebraska an honest perspective on the day's events. Join me, Dan Bongino, weekdays from 11 to 2 on FM 101.5 and 1240 AM KFOR.
We're back with more. It's the Average Joe Sports Show with Chris Schmidt and Elijah Herbel.
Find us 7 days a week with the Average Joe Sports Show. Like and subscribe to the YouTube channel. The Average Joe Sports Show is what you search for. AJ Sports Radio. Follow that. Chris Schmidt, Justice Rhody, Elijah Herbel en route back from the bachelor party. Tim Verghese hanging tight from InsideNebraskaRivals.com at Tim Verghese on Twitter. Tim, got to talk some targets for Big Red football. And what do they get your feel right now as you've got Nebraska continuing to chase really talented linebacker from Miami? That's Jordan Campbell. What are you feeling right now? What are you hearing? How is Nebraska in this pursuit?
Yeah, so the thing with Campbell is he's a guy that we talked to John Garcia today on our show about it and over at Recruiting Blitz and so he's a guy that's not been out very many places. He's seen Miami a ton. He's from Miami, been to Miami, made a commitment there because it's the hometown school. They did a really good job of recruiting him. And they've also, made sure he's well compensated from an NIL standpoint. But he's starting to look outside, out of the state, look at some options. And the big thing for him is communication. And no one's doing a better job right now outside of Miami than Nebraska. Rule's in contact. John Butler's in contact. They went through to see him twice last year. Philip Simpson's in contact. Rob Dvoracek's in contact. So you've got multiple staffers working here, trying to get him, to flip away. And obviously he was back. He was in town for the first time at the top of the month for the Elite Junior Day. He's eyeing an official visit that hasn't been scheduled just yet, but it feels like a matter of time. There are reports out there, and there's people out there that think or have reported that he's considering potentially shutting down his recruitment. I think if that happens in this spring, it's going to be because of a push from Miami to get him to publicly say that. I don't think that necessarily means Nebraska's out of it, because I think this is a recruitment just because of how little he's traveled and what he's looking for in a program. This is a recruitment that's going to go all the way to the end, even if it's kind of quiet towards the end of the year. This feels like Cortez Mills. Remember Cortez Mills in the spring, where it felt like he committed to Oklahoma and it was shut down. Oklahoma doesn't let you make other visits, doesn't do a whole lot of that. I think you don't trust what he necessarily says publicly, because he's going to do a lot here to make Miami feel comfortable with him and his commitment. But I do think you trust what he does, and I do think you're going to see him come back to Nebraska this spring. I do think you're going to see him come up for an official visit this summer, and I do think Nebraska's going to work to get him on campus for a game in the fall. And I think all of that combined with the relationships he currently has Nebraska as a real threat. But they're not the only ones. Oregon's trying to get him on campus. Georgia's trying to get him on campus. Florida State as well. I mean, he's the number 6 linebacker in the country. Like, he's elite, truly an elite, like modern day off-ball linebacker, what you're looking for at the position. Nebraska would love to have him, but they're battling the who's of college football.
Is there a comp for him? Does he remind you of somebody in college?
Yeah, I mean, college, I don't know if there's one necessarily. I mean, he's just an uber athlete. Like, it's like, I don't even think Roquan's the best comp, because I think he's a little more athletic than Roquan. But he's kind of in that, Trent Simpson's, I think, a name that comes to mind for me. Trent Simpson from Clemson was a pretty dominant off-ball linebacker there that did a couple of different things, now plays for the Ravens, opposite Roquan Smith. But yeah, Trent Simpson's a good comp, in my opinion.
All right, Nebraska got the early nod from C.J. Bronow. You've got a lot of who's who. That's Fran at Syracuse. That's Florida State. That's Penn State. That's LSU. How How tight has it gotten for Nebraska with CJ?
It's just starting. I feel like as tight as it feels right now, it's only going to get worse. I mean, he's coming off a junior season that he had 5-6 interceptions despite only playing 5 games. He put down a 10 300-meter dash earlier this month. He put a sub 21 200-meter earlier this month, and then he won defensive back MVP at Under Armour Orlando, going up against some of the best athletes on both sides of the ball, going up against some of the best athletes in Central Florida. So this attention is it's going to keep going. So he's already talking about wanting to make other visits. I think he's going to go see Penn State. Indiana is a program to watch. Wisconsin's a program to watch. Oklahoma, LSU, Florida State, Syracuse, like you mentioned. I wouldn't be surprised to see one or the other two in that Florida Big Three enter the mix. A couple more SEC schools. I mean, when you look at the kid, it's one, you have to give credit to Nebraska for evaluating and identifying him so early. I remember when he committed and people were confused as to why Nebraska took him so early. He's a 6'1" DB that runs 10.3 in the 100-meter and gets his hands on the football. You take that. You absolutely take that. And so credit to Nebraska for identifying him and landing him before this recruitment truly blew up. But now it's like the real battle begins. You're going to have official visit season. You're going to have to push through that. I think if you're Nebraska right now, he's scheduled to officially visit June 6th. I think if you're Nebraska, you ideally want him on that June 20th weekend, which is the big weekend for them this year. Ideally, you want him there. You want him to reschedule. And again, ideally, you want to be the last official visit for him because you want to be the school that makes the last impression, the lasting impression. So, the battle is just beginning. At this point, it's anyone's call. I think, he's a guy that, kind of does take into account Nebraska was so early on him, has a good relationship with John Butler, likes Matt Rule and the staff. Like, Nebraska's done a good job to hold on to his commitment. But again, this is about to be a battle.
Nebraska's early on guys because they evaluate well. And lo and behold, people come late to the party, but still get some face time. And that's just, I guess, the blessing or the curse of being early in on a high-level player that blows up later on in his high school career.
Right. And that's the whole thing. It's tough, too, because, you do a good job. You invest all those resources. You identify it. And I know talking to, recruiting staffers and even myself, you evaluate someone, before they have any offers or attention and you're like, whoa, we found one. We got one. You send them out, and you get it passed up the chain of command. You get that guy an offer and you're like, whoa, we found one. We identified one. Then you land his commitment. You're excited. And then, a couple of weeks later, powerful programs start rolling in, barging down the door like, hey, we like you too. And it's like, where were you a couple of weeks ago? Because we found this guy. And so it's tough. It's frustrating. It's got to be frustrating for the staff. But Nebraska's got, a good amount of resources. And it certainly helps, in my opinion, in this recruitment, amidst some of the staff changes, to go get Addison Williams, an Orlando guy, a guy that knows Florida, prospects, is familiar with CJ, to go out and get him and have him lead the DB's room. That's as good as you can do, considering John Butler was the guy named to defensive coordinator.
Tim, we'll get you out on this. Talk to me about Mason Bonner, Denver, Colorado tight end, 2026 class, and Nebraska made the top 5, and quite a few other programs, Minnesota and Michigan, specifically the U, known for tight ends, but Nebraska in the mix here.
Yeah, Nebraska's tight ends board's loaded. I mean, they've got a couple already. They've got 2 scheduled to visit. Lincoln Watkins scheduled to officially visit. Luke Sorensen from California scheduled to officially visit. They still like Camden Jensen out of Colorado. Isaac Jensen, the in-state kid out of Millard South. But then Bonner's a new one they offered. And Bonner, in my opinion, we talk about this 26 tight end class a ton, just of how loaded it is. He's a new addition to like the tight end class in general. He's one of my favorites. 6'6", 200 pounds, plays basketball, super athletic, basically a jumbo wide receiver at a true 6'6", playing outside that you kind of build up. Michigan loves him. They see him as another Colston Loveland type, like a future elite tight end. Nebraska really likes him. The big thing for Nebraska and Bonner right now is creating some separation. I think you get the feel Nebraska likes Watkins and Sorensen a little more just because they're a little more familiar with those guys. And then they like the 2 Jensens. And then there's that next year with Bonner. If you get Bonner on campus this spring, I think anything can happen. But at this point, I think of that 5, Nebraska's on the back end of it until they get him on campus.
Tim Verghese, inside NebraskaRivals.com. Check out his recruiting blitz on YouTube as well. Tim, appreciate you much. Thank you for the intel.
Yes, sir. Of course. Much appreciated, guys.
All right, there he is. Tim Verghese, the Average Joe Sports Show, Hour 1, winding down.
Health news, a CDC update.
Pneumococcal vaccination is now recommended for adults 50 or older. Says here, we're over 6 times more likely to be hospitalized with pneumococcal pneumonia than adults under 50.
I don't love those odds.
Same. Look what I found. Pfizer's Prevnar 20 is proven to help protect adults against pneumococcal pneumonia and invasive pneumococcal disease in just 1 dose, and millions have already gotten it.
Continued approval may depend on a supportive study. Don't get Prevnar 20 if you have a severe allergy to its ingredients. A weakened immune system may lower your response. Common side effects include injection site pain and swelling, fatigue, headache, muscle, and joint pain. For full prescribing information, please call 1-855-213-2138. Visit Prevnar20.com or talk to your doctor or pharmacist.
I'm on Prevnar20.com now, scheduling my appointment.
Good idea. And happy 50th.
ADHD. It's the child who can't pay attention or sit still in school, right? The answer may be yes. Attention Deficit Hyperactivity Disorder, or ADHD, can be complicated and it can last a lifetime. Living with a condition can sometimes be a challenge. It may take years to accept a formal diagnosis, and it's not always easy to find the right treatment plan. Did you know that up to 75% of children and adolescents with ADHD have at least one additional mental health condition that also requires a comprehensive approach to treatment? ADHD guidelines were recently updated to reflect the need to screen for associated disorders. Be sure to talk with your child's doctor about proper screening and visit more2adhd.com for additional information. That's more2adhd.com. This message has been brought to you in partnership with ADA, ACO, and CHAD.
Are you ready for a new opportunity? Check out Sandhills Global. Join a dynamic team where your skills are valued and your career can soar. We offer full-time positions with a 4.5-day work week, competitive pay, excellent benefits, and a positive work environment. From IT and marketing to sales and finance, we're looking for talented individuals just like you. Apply today at sandhills.jobs and take the first step towards an exciting future. That's sandhills.jobs. Don't wait, apply now.
Is it time to replace your home comfort system? Call Bryant and save money in every way. Bryant provides you with solutions that save. Save big immediately with attractive rebates, and save every day with lower operating costs. Most important though, the systems are selected to fit you. The right system, priced right, properly installed. That's the way Bryant works for you. How much can you save? Call Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing for a free estimate. 467-1111.
We're back with more. It's the Average Joe Sports Show with Chris Schmidt and Elijah Herbel.
We may have an Elijah sighting in hour 2 as he is roaring back from Omaha. It's the Average Joe Sports Show, 7 days a week for you, 4 to 6, Monday through Friday. And YouTubing it on the weekend with the weekend edition, 7:45 Saturday mornings. Sunday live at 10:30. Go check out the John Baylor sit down from yesterday. So we had to get we weren't wearing Celtics jerseys. We thought about it, me and Sharpie and Dolman, to make JB feel more at home, but we were torn on who got to wear the home and road Larry Bird jerseys. We weren't going to share, so we didn't go with the Celtic Pride tribute, JB's favorite player ever, Larry Joe Bird. But great chat with the legendary voice of Husker volleyball, John Baylor. So check that out on YouTube. Find and follow us on Twitter, AJ Sports Radio. Like and subscribe, Spotify, iTunes, and YouTube, The Average Joe Sports Show. Email-wise, the ajsportshow@gmail.com. Some comments here into the stream. Kobe takes a thought on the exposure part we were talking with Tim about in reference to this Tennessee-Nebraska series, and I hate to keep dragging it out. We talked about it in depth Saturday. We talked about it in depth Sunday, but love your input on it here in the stream. And Kobe, you're right. Winning takes care of exposure. You win ball games, you're on prime time. Totally get it. Nebraska has not always performed well in prime time. Their last prime time showdown, a couple of them, they did well. They were toe-to-toe with Ohio State. They beat Colorado. You know how that went. That was big time. Game Dog checks in, says, I don't think brand matters near as much as it used to. NIL and opportunity of roster spots are all that matter. And a staff having legit recruiters. I think Nebraska has a staff of legit recruiters. I totally believe that. I think they've got some really good evaluators.
Yeah,
not just to bring dudes onto campus, but bring the right dudes to campus.
Right.
It's a great combo, quite honestly. And you have some more comments here in the stream we'll get to. You have Game Talk. Yeah, I mean, there are different time slots that are more advantageous. Not all 11 a.m.s are created equal. That dirty Peacock spot against Purdue, and
Goodness gracious.
Right, even BTN. I mean, you've got such a loaded inventory now. You're getting some monster helmet games on BTN.
Right.
And when Nebraska was down, they'd throw Ohio State, Nebraska on BTN, and they'd throw Penn State, Nebraska on BTN because Nebraska wasn't winning during the Riley
Or how many big noon games are they going to get in a row? That's the big question, because it feels like the Big Ten gets a big noon game every week.
But that, to me, that's your big dog payday. I get it. That's your tier 1 game. It's noon. Fox has won that and taken over. I get it, but give me the night NBC 6:30.
Right?
I mean,
against Colorado, that was electric.
Yeah, give me more night games. That's obvious, but it's necessary for just getting the place ready to shake. That's what you want. Coach McBride is on the way. Hour 2, Monday, here with you on the Average Joe Sports Show.
Age-related macular degeneration or dry AMD. You may be at risk for developing geographic atrophy or GA. GA can be unpredictable and progress rapidly, leading to irreversible vision loss. Now there's something you can do to
slow it down, get it going slower.
Izervay is proven to slow GA progression.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Izervay or avacincaptad pagel is a prescription eye injection used to treat GA. Don't take it if you have an infection or active swelling in or around your eye. Izervay can cause eye infection, retinal detachment, or increased risk of wet AMD. Izervay may temporarily increase eye pressure. Your vision may be impaired after an eye injection or exam. Don't delay. Ask your doctor about Izervay today.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Visit Izervay.com. That's IZERVAY.com.
Confidence is knowing you're ready to handle whatever comes your way. That's what it feels like to take on your workday with Cintas. They make sure your AEDs are up to date, your fire extinguishers are tested and inspected, your floor mats are cleaned and delivered, and your workwear looks good, feels good, and is freshly laundered with the Cintas Apparel Plus program. So are you ready to take on today? Visit Cintas.com.
Oh, I'm ready!
And get ready for the workday.
The journey of 1,000 miles begins with the first step. At Children International, we know that the journey to end poverty for good begins first with a child. It starts with their first checkup, lesson, opportunity, job. That journey takes commitment from people like you and me to end poverty for good. Learn more at children.org.
Lincoln's local news, talk, sports, and weather station. FM 101.5, 1240 AM, KFOR, and KFRX HD3, Lincoln.
From ABC News, I'm Michelle Franzen. Elon Musk's Doge team now telling federal employees to respond to an email by midnight listing what they did last week. But some department heads, including the FBI, telling workers not to respond due to the sensitive nature of their work. And the shakeup at the Pentagon continues with firings of key leaders, including former Joint Chiefs of Staff General C.Q. Brown. Democrats say the sweeping purge threatens the nonpartisan nature of the military. ABC's Louis Martinez has more on the mood throughout
throughout the Defense Department.
We've never seen 2 members of the Joint Chiefs of Staff fired on the same day. We've never seen 4 other generals fired on the same day, all high-ranking. It is the president's prerogative to choose his own team of military leaders, but to actually see so many senior-ranking officials all go at the same time, that has been disconcerting to some officials that we've spoken to today here at the Pentagon.
After holding talks at the White House, President Trump and French President Emmanuel Macron says there is a path to peace in Ukraine. Ukraine so far not involved in those discussions. It's marking 3 years since Russia invaded and dealing with a shift in policy by the U.S. ABC's Mary Bruce has more following a joint conference.
It is certainly clear that they are not on the same page when it comes to Ukraine. We heard President Macron saying very clearly that this peace must not mean a surrender of Ukraine, and repeatedly stressing the need for those security guarantees that President Trump has not been willing so far to outline. But yet still President Trump has said that he thinks this war could end within weeks. He thinks that when a deal is reached, that he said he may even go and visit with Vladimir Putin in Moscow.
It's been 3 years since Russia invaded Ukraine, Russia launching a barrage of drone attacks today. The Vatican says Pope Francis is showing some improvement as he battles pneumonia. The 88-year-old pontiff remains in critical condition, though, at a Rome hospital. You're listening to ABC News.
If you're living with dry age-related macular degeneration or dry AMD, you may be at risk for developing geographic atrophy or GA. GA can be unpredictable and progress rapidly, leading to irreversible vision loss. Now there's something you can do to
slow it down, get it going slower.
Izervay is proven to slow GA progression.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Izervay or avacincaptad pagel is a prescription eye injection used to treat GA. Don't take it if you have an infection or active swelling in or around your eye. Izervay can cause eye infection, retinal detachment, or increased risk of wet AMD. Izervay may temporarily increase eye pressure. Your vision may be impaired after an eye injection or exam. Don't delay. Ask your doctor about Izervay today.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Visit Izervay.com. That's IZERVAY.com.
Details from an officer-involved shooting in North Lincoln. Good afternoon. I'm Jeff Motes. We're at 62 degrees at KFOR. 2 people have been arrested following an officer-involved shooting from early this morning near 48th and Orchard. Lincoln Police Chief Michonne Morrow says a traffic stop was done 2 blocks west there about 2:30 this morning, where officers had probable cause to order 2 people out of the car.
The occupants did not comply, and they began driving away. The officer on the passenger side got caught in the vehicle.
The car continued to move slowly down Orchard Street, and 2 officers ran behind it. One officer, a canine handler, went back to go get his cruiser, while another officer pulled out his service gun and told the driver to stop several times. When the driver did not comply, the officer fired his gun toward the vehicle. Nobody was hurt by that gunshot. The vehicle later stopped in the intersection of 48th and Orchard, where the officer who had been inside the vehicle was able to walk away with minor injuries. The driver, 66-year-old Ronald Willis, and the passenger, 44-year-old Cynthia Martinez, were arrested without incident. Read more at KFORnow.com. A robbery from over the weekend in Central Lincoln is under investigation. While the call came out early Saturday evening, the apparent robbery happened sometime between 5 and 6:30 Saturday morning near 28th and J.
A 29-year-old Lincoln woman told officers she was taking out her trash in the alley when an unknown middle-aged man wearing all black clothing approached her with a pocket knife and demanded money.
Lincoln Police Public Information Manager Erica Thomas says the man tried to stab the woman, which prompted her to defend herself and led to a 1-inch laceration to her hand. Thomas says the suspect then hit the victim in the face several times, which left her with an injured lip, forehead, mouth, and cheek. Read more about this in the Lincoln News section at KFORnow.com. And a reminder that West A Street between Southwest 23rd and Southwest 25th will be closed for a paving project. Work is set to be done by March 14th. Mostly clear sky tonight, a low of 29, sunny tomorrow and a high of 66. I'm Jeff Motes, KFOR News.
These are today's top headlines.
On the 3rd anniversary of the Russian invasion, Ukraine worries about Allied support. Mega podcaster Dan Bongino is named Deputy FBI Director under Kash Patel. Federal workers sue Elon Musk over his demand for their written accomplishments.
Don't miss a thing. Stay connected for whatever's next.
News that affects you. On air and on demand, 24/7. FM 101.5, 1240 AM, KFOR.
Culligan has a long history of providing custom solutions to address the area's water worries. Local water issues, including PFAS, arsenic, nitrates, and bacteria, can wreak havoc on your home and health. You can trust Culligan to deliver better water solutions and better service. No one else offers the combination of local expertise.
Live from Lincoln and broadcasting across the state of Nebraska, it's the Average Joe Sports Show. This is the place for Husker sports with the biggest names, the best interviews, and all the inside scoops.
I got a front row seat with a big tub of buttered popcorn and a greasy half-live chicken leg.
Now, here are your hosts, Chris Schmidt and Elijah Herbel.
Back at you for hour 2 of the Average Joe Sports Show. Chris Schmidt, Elijah Herbel is efforting to get into the stream as we kick off hour 2. Justice Rhody is efforting Coach McBride. You had Uncle Charlie, then he just hung up on you.
I don't know what the heck happened. Something went wrong with the phone line, and the utility just cut into the feed, and it just completely disconnected it. So now I'm frantically scrambling to get him.
Deep breath. You're okay.
Yeah, he heard I was on and had to get out.
Yeah, let's.
Elijah's back.
You're back, dude. So Steve was asking if you got any cotton candy with the TSA folks. Tell me about this. We'll get Uncle Charlie here on for a Monday with Charlie in a moment. You got to kick out a duck in the stream. We were talking about recruiting and Nebraska's evaluation, and good old Duck's like, you mean like Jeff Sims? I was like, yeah, you got me there, Duck. But how was the trip, brother?
It's awesome. The weather down there was fantastic.
You had a sweet hot dog.
Oh, the Chicago dog?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. That was good. The taps were flowing at the baseball game. Sunny. It was incredible.
And you brought the weather back.
Can't complain. It was all in all good. Good to see some old friends. Looking forward to a wedding coming up in May. So, looking forward to the Poke and Pole wedding. Yeah, can't complain about the trip. It is good to be back. It was a fun day of travel.
What happened with the airline
Frontier? I'll call them out by name.
Not to be mentioned, but you go ahead and mention them.
Yeah.
They lose your bags?
No, they did not lose the bags. They tried to charge $100 to take a carry-on on. Like, what are we doing here? Like, we only allow personal items on now. If it's larger than this box, you have to pay $100 for your carry-on. I'm like, what are you talking? So I was just argumentative until they finally relented and let me on the plane without paying $100.
They did not zip tie you, did they?
No. The guy that was arguing with me a little bit, and I'll admit, I was definitely the one that was more of the instigator in this situation because he was just trying to get me to pay $100. And I get that's airport policy or Frontier policy, but that is so ridiculous. I was like, there's no way I'm doing that. So, no, did not pay the $100, got onto the plane. Had to do the same whole charade in Denver as well that we did in Phoenix, but we made it on. So back in Lincoln, excited to be back. Kobe chimes into the stream and says, I am late. That is not a first time.
No, you're fine. You're fine. Buck 380, loving the weather. Folks are sprinting to the rail yard to be a part of this blackout, and not only wearing black for Nebraska, Michigan, but maybe a triple Red Bull and vodka or several before. We are not advocating binge drinking or getting. This was clean.
You're wearing black though. You're participating in the blackout. See, I don't think I'm going to be participating in the blackout because I did enough of that this weekend. So
okay, well played. So you made it. What do we got here, Justice?
I am trying my ever-loving tail off to get him connected, and for some reason he can't hear me on the other line.
Because you got something punched up in there, probably.
I got all the right buttons on. I just don't know why he can't
hear me. You want to go take a peek?
I sure can.
Okay, that'd be great. Coach McBride maybe coming up here on the Average Joe Sports Show as we'll try. Kobe is saying that's a lesson. Don't fly that specific airline. Red Wine chimes in, says, let Rule stack W's, then he can sell the program to real horses. Then we can stack tough games. And that's just it, right? You need a big win in a big game. And Nebraska's had moments where they played a big game tight, they played a big game tough, but ultimately you didn't get the job done. They're working on that as we speak. When it comes to NIL, when it comes to recruiting, when it comes to this new world of college football. We'll get Jay Moore's take on things coming up here in about 20 minutes or so. Blackout, says our friends at the Big Red Junkie. Sounds like a good show night. Well, possibly. So you have Black Hills Brennan saying, excuse me, sir, I'll pay you $100 to never talk to you again or never talk to me again. There you have it. Tuck also says, shut it off and then turn it on, start it all over. Did he drop out again?
Well, he's hopefully get down with this here in a second.
Okay. He is fighting the good fight. Coach McBride is. We'll do that. Let's hear from Fred Hoiberg. He has got to get his guys ready, willing, and able to start the ball game in a better way. We've heard from Fred a little bit here about getting the guys back. Kurt checks in and says a popular watering hole, not quite in the rail yard, but known for their wings. Kurt, you talk to the folks down there, brother. And I guess my brother could talk to the folks there at a spot that starts with N. Maybe we can make that happen sometime. But how about how the guys have responded this week post Penn State? Cut 3 from Fred Hoiberg. It is all about the response, not only for Nebraska, but also for Michigan.
I think good, Wilson. You look at them when we got in that film room the other day. I just kind of sensed, the guys had their heads a little bit down, and that's why I just tried to keep everything in check. We didn't watch the game. We talked about it a lot. Believe me, we worked on it on the court. But I felt the more productive thing was to find a way to get them back going again. And, our job at this time of year, a lot of it is, my dad was a sociologist for 30 years. Psychology, being a psychologist at this time of year, just to try to navigate. What are you going to say to your team? How are you going to get them prepared? I just didn't feel like that was the day to go in there and pound them into the ground. Now that we've had plenty of those this year, believe me, but it was getting their spirits back up and going out and having a spirited workout on the court. It was moving on. It was flushing that game away and moving on to Michigan and putting in a game plan that hopefully gives us a chance to win if we follow it. That was the thing that was disappointing with Penn State. We just got off the map. You get off to a tough start and one guy tries to go make a play and the other 4 don't know what the hell he's doing. Now you're got one guy out of position and that's all it takes with our defense and with our system. I think we're 13-1 when we hold teams to 70 or less. That's our identity. That's how we win games. And we just didn't have any type of edge. And a lot of it started with not taking care of the ball and allowing them to get comfortable.
Fred Hoiberg, and you got to be a master psychologist, man, knowing when to hold them, knowing when to fold them, to quote a little Kenny Rogers, with when to jump on your team. We welcome in Mr. Blackshirt, a Monday with Charlie. Coach McBride with us here. Coach, thanks for joining us today. How we doing?
Well, the news was good.
Yeah? Good.
I heard the news. I heard I got them all on it. And I got 3 phone calls and nobody answered.
Well, that's not intentional. We love you. We aren't screening the calls.
Well,
sorry about the
okay.
gymnastics there.
Well, I just about left the house. I said, then the phone rang and I just said call back, so I did it.
Well, you're wonderful, Coach. What do you think of the whole Tennessee-Nebraska series getting punted?
The what?
Nebraska-Tennessee. They were supposed to play here in a couple of years, and that got deep sixed.
Well, they must have. Well, what you do there, you solve a problem of how much somebody owes. Whoever, if we were the ones that dropped the game,
we were.
Sometimes then we have to pay a fine.
Yeah, $1 million to get out of it.
Yeah, that's what I mean. But I mean that means that much to pay them the $1 million and get out. That's all you can do. Because I know we had some smaller ones, but some of the smaller schools we couldn't fill the spots, and they called and they wanted to cancel, and they were only getting 25,000. And I know Bob Devaney said, "Well, how about 750,000?" Then they came.
Yeah. The math was good on that by old Bob, wasn't it?
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of schools that dropped us, I mean, and so we never did hear all those stories, but they have to pay a fine, and they probably negotiated a little bit,
Well, Coach, let me ask you the question. I know the official explanation from the university here is mostly financial, but if you put that to the side and just talk about non-conference games in general, obviously you want to warm up for the season, you want to learn something about yourself, and you want to end it with a win. If your two options are to go beat up on, say, an FCS team, beat them by a couple of touchdowns, secure the win, or go learn against another high-level team such as Tennessee, but you may end up with a loss, what are you doing?
Well, if you think your team's good, I mean, we used to play the Kickoff Classic. Okay, you're going to play a good football team. So, I think that helped us a lot. It made us feel better that it's nice playing football, but you're better off if you want to play somebody good. Get it. And I would say this. I felt kind of bad with dropping them because there's a good chance to if you think you're as good as you are gonna be, then take a chance and try to beat somebody good.
Well, and Coach McBride, you guys always had, and I know it's different now because you are in a conference that's 18 deep. A lot of the non-conference West Coast schools are in your league already.
Right.
And you're gonna get a playoff opportunity just by being in the Big Ten if you're in that top 5 theoretically. But man, you guys got a ton of exposure on TV when you'd play the UCLAs or the Washingtons or heck, even the Auburns or the Florida States. I mean, I loved your guys' non-conference schedule over the years.
Well, most of the time, when you play a team like UCLA, because I think that I don't know if they still are, but at that time they were on a quarter system, and those guys were at the beach for 5 games.
Jeez.
I mean, they didn't have school, but you don't ever want to play them late. That's when they got, they get back and get in the swing of things, and then they were. If you're going to beat them early. That's what I'm saying, and because it's just it's a hard thing for them, I think, to really get a team ready to play when you're not in school.
Coach, we got a couple of minutes here, and we'll do this again. I wanted you were playing. You were on the staff, of course, with the last time you played an SEC team. And I think it was South Carolina with Sterling Sharp. What do you remember about that?
Well, he had actually his brother, I think, was on the team, but not playing. I don't know, but Sterling Sharp was the man of the year. I mean, he was really a good player, and they were running a kind of a split bone type of thing. They were putting 2 wing backs, and then they put one in motion into the backfield, and it made it interesting because you got, then you had the regular option going both ways, and a lot of it was play action pass and things like that. But they had some good athletes. I mean, some really good players, and so it was a real test. And then playing away from home, it's not the easiest thing in the world, but. We came through defensively. I think Jimmy Pillen got a pass and interception at the end of the game, and it made a big difference. And that was kind of the frosting on the cake. And then we ended up winning the game. But we found out, and they found out that they were pretty good, and we found out we were pretty good too. And so. It was a game worth playing. And, we played Florida State and Alabama and some of those teams early, but, it's tough, when you do that. If you get 2 practice games and one real hard one, that's kind of a deal. But now, like you're saying, we play in so many games. You might, what do we get? Two supposed practice games, is it now? And so I don't know how that's going to work out. Until they get a commissioner and get out of the Big Ten or get out of the NCAA, it's going to be a track meet. I mean, it's going to be this week it will be this way, and next week it will be this way, and next week, and because I think the NCAA, all they're interested in is how much their bonus is going to be at Christmas time.
Charlie McBride with us, Coach. We need a prediction, sort of, kind of. Do the Nebraska basketball, do they get it done tonight against Michigan?
Oh, I was hurt. The other night. I mean, I was brain dead when I saw that. I mean, the first half of that last game I saw, I didn't never seen anything like that before.
Mm-hmm.
I thought somebody was sick, and I don't know. But we're the kind of team that can beat anybody anytime. I mean, you don't know what they're going to do, and I mean, if they really play, they can play.
Yeah.
And so, and it's hard when you put a team together, and you don't get a chance to work together in the summertime, the whole summer, like all these other teams do, most of them anyway. It's a hard thing, and about the time you get ready to get good, some teams really get good, and some teams just kind of, they level off. And I hope we're not doing that. I hope we got something left in the tank.
No, I get you. Coach, we'll holler again next Monday, and thanks for your persistence on this. We appreciate spending time with you.
Okay. Well, I'll be there. I hope. Okay.
See you, Coach.
Thanks, guys. Bye now.
If patients aren't benefiting, where's the money going? Learn more at 340bmarkup.org. Paid for by Pharma.
There's a lot on the line in a divorce. Your home, savings, retirement, maybe even kids. So when you find yourself facing divorce and the unexpected directions it can take, you really need a partner you can count on. I'm Rick Julius, a partner at Cordell & Cordell. We're committed to helping protect your personal interests and the life you've built. Don't let divorce take more than it has to. Talk to us today.
Schedule an appointment with one of Cordell & Cordell's Lincoln area attorneys. 1221 N Street, Suite 801, Lincoln, Nebraska 68508.
What if your business could see beyond what is and into what can be? What if you could create more impact in every decision? What if you had a partner as visionary as you are? With Bank of America, you get access to our trusted experts, real-time insights, and digital tools. So whether you run a local shop or a global enterprise, you're backed by business solutions to make every move matter. What would you like the power to do? Find out how at bankofamerica.com/banking for business. Bank of America is proud to be the official bank sponsor of FIFA World Cup 2026.
It's time for today's STEM tip. Okay, recycling is important. No one wants plastic in the ocean. Here's a cool way to repurpose a plastic bottle. Build an awesome terrarium. Cut a large plastic bottle in half and fill the base with sand, pebbles, potting soil, and your favorite plant. I chose an African violet. Put the top of the bottle over your base and place it in the sun. Your plant will grow sealed in its own ecosystem. Fun, right? Learn more at She Can STEM. A message from the Ad Council.
Trust is a foundation of any strong relationship. It's earned every day.
At 1011, it's the way we cover the community we call home.
Working hard to fact check, verify, and get the story right.
It means alerting you first to severe weather and preparing for what's ahead.
It's telling the stories that bring us together and make us proud to be Nebraskan.
Trust Cole Miller, Madison Pitch, Chief Meteorologist Ken Shumick, and Sports Director Kevin Suits. The most watched, the most trusted. That's 1011.
As an organ donor, your story doesn't have to end. The good in you can live on. In fact, you could save up to 8 lives and restore sight and health for many more. Sign up right now online as an organ, eye, and tissue donor. You'll be happy you did. And just maybe someone else will be happy too. Go to organdonor.gov. and saves lives. U.S. Department of Health and Human Services Health Resources.
We're back with more. It's the Average Joe Sports Show with Chris Schmidt and Elijah Herbel.
Back into it. It's the Average Joe Sports Show. The Blackshirt Hour rolls forward. We welcome in Blackshirt Husker NFLer Jay Moore at JMoore44 on Twitter. You watch him, Big Red wrap up, and Jaybird got to bring back memories, my friend. Day one of the NFL Combine today. You and your pal Beast Mode, of course.
Yeah, I honestly I forgot it was week one of the Combine. That was a day or a few days. That's a wild ride. I was fortunate enough to be invited. I know some guys don't get that invite, but it's a crazy 3 days. Weather was not great in Indianapolis. I think it snowed. Getting in there was a nightmare. Flight got canceled heading into Indianapolis. I was supposed to get in about 7:00 the first day, didn't get until midnight, and still had to get all my medical stuff done, like EKGs and all this stuff. So I was at the hospital until like 1, 2 o'clock in the morning. They had to be up at 5 for a drug test next day, plus all the other stuff they take you through. So it definitely was a grind. And then it's just a lot of medical stuff, a lot of meetings at night with teams, a lot of informal meetings with coaches and scouts that they kind of pull you off to the side. But you get scheduled meetings, certain teams that obviously have interest in you schedule meetings. I think I can't remember if they're 15 or 20 minutes, but you just kind of pop around from organization to organization. You might meet with the head coach, you might not. You might meet with a psychologist. You might meet with the whole organization. Only might be a few guys in there. Every team does it differently. Every interview was vastly different. I never thought I was going to be drafted by the 49ers. I did meet with them. Never thought that they were going to pick me. I thought Tampa Bay or Philly or Chicago were kind of the top 3 teams. It's something I won't forget. Didn't test I did some things well testing. I didn't run the best 40. I wasn't very happy with my time, so I did rerun it at Nebraska's Pro Day. But it was an experience, man. You like you said, Marshawn Lynch was I think stayed a couple doors down from me, and Brent bumped into him all the time, and a lot of players you played against in the Big 12 and other schools that you run into. I was fortunate enough to go there and be a part of it, and obviously get drafted. Whichever all the Nebraska guys, I think there's 4 of them. Best of luck and just enjoy it. Enjoy it and go do your best and control what you can control. And if you want to redo some stuff, go do it at your pro day. And but it's a blessing to get invited, and it's early part of the draft process that they're going to get put through the combine, and then you got pre-draft meetings after this and all sorts of stuff. So it's just the early start to the craziness of draft time.
Was it hard telling Marshawn you couldn't hang out?
Yeah, I mean, I would have loved to hang out, right, and do some things. He was in a much different situation than I was. He was in a much comfortable spot.
First rounder to Buffalo, wasn't he?
I'm pretty sure he's a first rounder, and obviously coming out of Cal, I was never going to be a first rounder. I was hoping I could have, run well enough and test well enough to maybe sneak into the bottom, the half of the second round. Ideally, it was, a third or fourth round grade was for me. So, I had to be on my P's and Q's. I had to take care of my business. I don't think that, when you're out, I don't think there was no curfews. I mean, they would love for you to screw up at the combine and be out late and do all sorts of stuff, right? They'd love for you to make that mistake. But I definitely wasn't going to do that. I was going to do everything that I could in the process to make sure that the I's were dotted and the T's were crossed. I did not want to give any teams any more reason not to draft me than that they already had. Just giving myself a hard time. But yeah, Marshawn was a beauty. A lot of elevator rides up to the third or fourth floor or whatever it was of the Marriott hotel that you stay in there in Indianapolis.
I love it. You were, what do you call you? Corn-fed?
Yeah, it's something. Yeah, corn-fed. You're, big ass corn-fed boy, something like that. I can't remember exactly what he said. It was something along those lines. It's you're dating me now. That's been.
No, I know it's been a year. It's been a few years.
It's been 18 years now. So
Man.
a lot of hits to the head in that meantime, and some age has been involved. So yeah, he was great. He was awesome. He was a fun guy. Other than his talent trying to tackle him, he was a fun guy to play against. He was just like a giant kid out there, and he still is. I mean, he would have known me if I ran into him today. But he was a good. A lot of guys had a lot of good things to say about Marshawn being a teammate. They loved playing with him because he played hard and treated everyone really the right way.
It's Jay Moore with us here on the Average Joe Sports Show. Some NFL Combine memories. Well, Tennessee, Nebraska, not to beat this dead horse, but I haven't got your reaction to it, Jay. Nebraska taking it on the chin. Of course, Danny White, the Tennessee AD, going on the offensive, whining about, there needs to be much steeper penalties or fees or fines for backing out of a deal. Nebraska hooked Tennessee up a few years ago so they could have a game in Bristol at the racetrack. And I think Nebraska wanted to shift things back a little bit so they could have a full stadium. Financially, you've got to make up and spend on quarterbacks and left tackles, and at 20% less capacity, it is a dollars and cents thing. But the other part of this, too, is you can't really put a price on exposure. Nebraska, Tennessee, home and home would have drawn monster numbers. This does clean up your path to the playoff, presumably with one less hurdle. And you're still not apples to apples, Jay, with the SEC and the Big Ten. The Big Ten is playing 9 conference games. The SEC is not. And this is a data point that for sure the SEC would use had they won as justification for more in the playoff, and rightfully so. You win in Lincoln or you win against Nebraska at Neyland Stadium. Hey, that's a big win. We need to be back in the playoff. Overall, though, you put any lipstick on this, or hey, it's just not going to happen. I've moved on.
No, I saw it. To be honest, when I first saw the news come out that the series was going to happen, I honestly didn't know we were playing Tennessee in 2 years.
Yeah.
So part, blame that part on me. Selfishly, as a fan, obviously you want to see that. Tennessee coming into town. 1987 was the last SEC team that's been in Lincoln. I think I saw, and great, it'd been fun to go down to Knoxville and go to Neyland. I mean, what a great atmosphere. I was fortunate enough to go to Alabama just a couple of years ago. They played LSU. Going to SEC home games are awesome. Now I don't know about the, wearing red down there in the reception we'd have got, but that's all right. They can mess around and find out, if you know what I mean. Anywho, listen, like I said, I'd love to see it, but you got to do what's best for Nebraska. And Nebraska was they helped renegotiate and did stuff with Tennessee so they could operate. I think it's funny that Danny White kind of failed to mention that in his public announcements about all of this. Tennessee could have returned the favor if they wanted to, but it's off, and I get it. And the landscape of college football has changed so much in this since we went back a couple years for Tennessee. I mean, it's so vastly different. Just with now revenue sharing, NIL, college football playoff. You said it, but it's not an even playing field. The SECs, you said it, they're at eight conference games. We're at 9. We don't need it. I think, it's another feather in your cap. If you beat Tennessee, it helped. But listen, I think the Big Ten is a grind in its own that you go ahead and take care of business. And I mean, there's no better example than Ohio State this year. They didn't play in the conference championship game and obviously won the whole darn thing. So you just got to do yourself as much, set yourself as up as well as possible to make sure you can get yourself there. Now, I don't know, in a couple of years, I would like to think Nebraska is going to be in the upper echelon of the Big Ten and vying for, one of those spots in the 12 team or whatever it is, 14, 16, whatever it potentially could be in a couple of years. But I haven't lost any sleep over it. I'm not frustrated over it. I've had a lot of people ask me my thoughts, and like I said, I didn't even know we were playing in a couple of years. So that shows you kind of my thought on it. It's a whole lot to do with nothing. I think people are pissed that we don't have Tennessee coming here. People can't go to Tennessee. I get it. But you got to do what's best. And the landscape's changed. And they just want to host a game where capacity was going to be limited. You get an extra home game out of it, so that helps. But you got to do what's best for the University of Nebraska right now. And it is what it is. If Tennessee wants to go on the offensive and be up in arms about it, go let them do their thing. But I have no issues with it, and I fully believe Troy Dan is doing the right thing, and he needs to look out what's best financially for Nebraska. And I think if there was, if it was going to benefit Nebraska more by playing at Tennessee in the non-conference for playoff positions, he might have reconsidered. But apparently he asked around and said, if they win, is it going to help? We're playing a 9-game schedule the way it is already. Not a whole lot. So. I think it was a 36-hour time to overreact for fans and other people, but I'll be honest, I'm looking forward to Nebraska, Michigan tonight than worrying about Volunteers' future football games.
It's Jay Moore with us here, the Average Joe Sports Show, Blackshirt Monday. The Blackshirt Hour continues. We'll dive into some hoopage. Nebraska, Michigan blackout being called for by the Nebraska players, the fan base, the student section ready to go blackout at PBA and preferably not at the rail yard ahead of tip-off where your army crawl into the entrance gate. As nice as it is outside, what's the word? Yes, pacing oneself. But bring that edge. Maybe it helps the team come back with an edge. More with Jay Moore on the way. The Average Joe Sports Show. Like and subscribe the Average Joe Sports Show YouTube channel and also on Twitter. Find and follow AJ Sports Radio. Jay Moore continues with us here on the AJSS.
Lincoln Lutheran against either Fairbury or Conestoga. You can join us for all the play-by-play coverage starting at 7:20 right here.
FM 101.5, 1240 AM, KFOR.
Welcome, John, our new admin lead.
Thanks.
You've got your laptop, all your admin apps. Oh, and you'll be in charge of ordering food for the team. So here's your drawer full of menus.
Whoa.
You'll keep your receipts in this file folder. Whoops, receipt confetti.
Oh, dear.
Oh, and all these sticky notes have everyone's dietary preferences.
Have you tried Easy Cater? Online ordering from great restaurants, tools to save time and stay on budget, digital receipts in one place.
We're going to need a bigger recycling bin.
Easy Cater, the smarter, simpler way to order food for your workplace. Order now at easycater.com.
If you're 55 and up, T-Mobile has plans built just for you. 2 lines of unlimited for just $30 a line. That's a 45% savings compared to Verizon and AT&T. But don't just take our word for it.
It's not just the savings that are great with our T-Mobile brand. There's all this value from all these other things that T-Mobile offers.
T-Mobile has been such a savings for us.
We love it.
Switch today and get 2 free 5G phones like the Motorola Edge with Turbo Power charging that gives you power for the day in just 15 minutes. And customers 55 and up can get 2 lines of talk, text, and data for only $30 a line. Go to T-Mobile.com/choice55 to learn more. With AutoPay plus taxes and fees, plus $5 per line without AutoPay. Debit or bank account required. 45% off 2 lines versus AT&T Starter and Verizon Welcome. Plan benefits vary. Motorola Edge on us with 24 monthly bill credits and new line for well-qualified customers, plus tax and $35 per line connection charge. See details at T-Mobile.com. Motorola Edge requires 68-watt charger. Charger sold separately. Actual performance will vary based on usage and configuration.
What if your business could see beyond what is and into what can be? What if you could create more impact in every decision? What if you had a partner as visionary as you are? With Bank of America, you get access to our trusted experts, real-time insights, and digital tools. So whether you run a local shop or a global enterprise, you're backed by business solutions to make every move matter. What would you like the power to do? Find out how at bankofamerica.com/banking for business. Bank of America is proud to be the official bank sponsor of FIFA World Cup 2026.
On a Tuesday with KFOR, Schmidt and Carroll.
Did federal workers respond to Elon Musk's email by the deadline or listen to their directors? Who is next to go in the military ranks? An update on Ukraine-Russian talks and the Pope's health.
We'll talk to you at 6. Stream us KFORnow.com.
I think it's just vapor. Vaping is safer than smoking, isn't it?
There's really not even that much nicotine in them, right?
One vape pod has as much nicotine as one pack of cigarettes.
My kid
knows it's dangerous. 5.4 million American kids vape, and most think it's harmless. Get your head out of the cloud. Talk to your kid about vaping. Visit talkaboutvaping.org. That's talkaboutvaping.org. Brought to you by the American Lung Association.
We're back with more. It's the Average Joe Sports Show with Chris Schmidt and Elijah Herbel.
Jay Moore with us here, the Average Joe Sports Show. Let's roll our sleeves up. Nebraska, Michigan. Michigan has 2 Bond villains posing as 7-footers. One can shoot the 3 and has handles. The other can finish around the rim. Their guards are good. Nebraska is licking wounds right now from that debacle against Penn State. You heading down tonight? I know you're going to watch one way or the other, but how you feeling about Big Red basketball right now? 5 left.
Yeah. No, unfortunately not. As of right now, not going unless I get a late invite. Might try to
throw up a Hail Mary before tip.
Gosh, they're tough. You're talking about Wolf, and I can't think of the big guy for Michigan, but they're nice. Wolf is really good. He can do a lot. I mean, he's dirty. I mean, his handles and his ability to pass and do things that a 7-footer is not supposed to be able to do. If Burke is back, I feel better. I know he potentially he's questionable, but he's back. But what capacity? Not having him the last couple games or 3 games has hurt. Just not having another bigger body in there, defensive guy, rebounder, another guy to score. It hurt not having against Maryland. Obviously, the hurt at times against Northwestern, and they're able to fight back from that. But the Penn State game was just atrocious. So they need to get him back. I don't know where I'm at with this one. Being at home helps. I think the line, Michigan's favored by 1.5, maybe 2 points as of right now. You like Nebraska in that situation as a home underdog because they do play well at home, obviously. But Nebraska's just got, if they don't have Burke, it's other guys got to step up. And what is Mia able to do against some of these 7-footers? He's pulled out, against the rim to handle Wolf or whoever it may be. That's an interesting matchup. With Morgan, a little more athletic and can guard some of these guys, but he's had foul trouble enormously in the last couple games. He's played sparingly because of the foul issues. And it just comes down to Bryce and Jawan. They got to continue to do their thing, but you have to have a Season step up and get hot and do some things. And they got to take care of the basketball. Turnovers were a mess against Penn State. But I wouldn't be surprised if they, finish out this thing strong. I mean, Nebraska, where they're at right now is they can win these last 4 games, or they can lose the last 4 games. And ideally, you get at least 2 of these next 4. It sounds like that should not, I don't want to say it's a lock, but really help solidify, a 9 or 10 seed in a few weeks. But you got to get, with Michigan, Minnesota, Iowa, ideally you'd like to get, 2 of these home games out of the 3. And then, Ohio State's that's always going to be a tough game, but Ohio State's kind of licking their wounds. I mean, Northwestern just went in there and thumped them last week. I mean, beat them by 20 at Ohio State. So that game looks a little more attainable, winnable overall. But I just love the fact that they got a chance. I mean, we've had plenty of times, you're at the end of February or end of March, and you're just like, you watch, but it doesn't really mean much. maybe you're just hoping to improve from a 13 seed to a 12 seed in the Big Ten tournament. But it's meaningful basketball now, and I think we're all happy with that. And they just got to do the little things right: rebound, take care of the basketball, get to the line, don't rely on the 3-pointer too much, and that should be enough to get the job done. But the Michigan's tough, man. With this coach that's come in after Howard has turned this program around, because Michigan was not even close to what they were last year and the last couple of years. He's done a fantastic job of turning that thing around. They locked him up because they thought they might lose him to Indiana, but I'm excited. It's going to be awesome. We got great weather. That rail yard be bumping tonight with the great weather, and people will be anxious. And you got another home game again on Saturday night Saturday afternoon with great weather with Minnesota. So it's a good time to be a Nebraska basketball fan.
Jay Moore with us here, the Average Joe Sports Show. Jay, as we wind it down, what do you prescribe for what's supposed to be the spring game Saturday? What would you like to see done?
Gosh, I was doing like
beer games,
kind of what the Pro Bowl's done. Ooh. It'd be kind of fun, like a flag football.
Okay.
To some extent, or punt, pass, and kick competition. Something like that. I don't know. But I think kind of what the Pro Bowl's done in general, I think you could potentially do something like that. Again, I know he's trying to protect his guys from, I don't think it's going to be televised by any means, so that helps. But yeah, I think a flag football game, you do some, you know what would be great is, like, remember the Pro Bowl, like way back in the day, like Larry Allen rolling out there and benching, 275 like 30 times. You're doing that, like Marino and Cordell Stewart chucking the ball, with the paint on it, like hitting those. That'd be awesome. That's what I want. I want to throw it back to the Pro Bowl skills challenge of, our childhood. The 90s.
Moving target where you got this golf cart going across the field.
Yeah.
Dan Marino drops a dime. Not only takes out Snowflake the dolphin, but also the cart driver.
That's what I want. Give me that. And like the fastest man competition.
Yeah. Darryl Green for the win.
Yeah. That. And maybe it'd be tough. You probably can't do it in the stadium, but like a long drive competition.
Yeah, that'd be all right. Yeah.
Yeah. You get, you might have to get some guys involved and throw the cameras out to, Firethorn or some golf course here at Mahoney or Holmes or something like that. But that'd be fun too, right?
Can we accelerate the new course that's being built?
Potentially.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's gonna have to get done really quick.
Yeah.
To get done, but maybe next spring or a couple springs from now that could be done. But you could have fun with it. But yeah, I mean, give me those early 90s, mid 90s. I don't even know if they did in the 2000s, but those skill, with the bench competitions and the receivers are doing stuff, all that. That's what I'd want to see.
Could reenact the legendary Kevin Gogan Neil Smith fight. On the sideline, everyone's chilling out, wearing a lei, soaking up the sun in Hawaii. Then there's Gogan and Neil Smith killing each other.
Yeah, I mean, all that. Sign me up. Yeah, you gotta get creative to for the fans, and obviously do something that's fun for younger kids to go and watch, entertains them, because that's really what the spring game was about. I mean, that's the only downfall to this all was, some families had ability to take families there, and a lot of young kids to experience a great day, a Saturday in Memorial Stadium that they might otherwise not get to experience, but give them something that they can go to and have access. And I'm sure they will for autographs and that stuff with the players. Because it should be about the kids and keeping them happy and let them have access to the players. Because I put myself in those shoes as a young fan and idolizing those guys and everything they did. You want to make sure that they still have that.
Jay Moore with us, Average Joe Sports Show. Jay Bird will holler again. Thanks for the time. Good to spend time with Jay as we get you ready for PBA, Nebraska, Michigan, and follow us on Twitter, AJ Sports Radio. 7 days a week for you, the Average Joe Sports Show, YouTube, Spotify, iTunes. Like and subscribe to all of it And we'll wind it down, maybe a steak and a beer bet. And more luggage thoughts from Elijah.
If you're 55 and up, T-Mobile has plans built just for you. 2 lines of unlimited for just $30 a line. That's a 45% savings compared to Verizon and AT&T. But don't just take our word for it.
It's not just the savings that are great with our T-Mobile plan. There's all this value from all these other things that T-Mobile offers.
T-Mobile has been such a savings for us.
We love it.
Switch today and get 2 free 5G phones like the Motorola Edge with Turbo Power charging that gives you power for the day in just 15 minutes. And customers 55 and up can get 2 lines of talk, text, and data for only $30 a line. Go to T-Mobile.com/choice55 to learn more. With AutoPay plus taxes and fees, plus $5 per line without AutoPay. Debit or bank account required. 45% off 2 lines versus AT&T Starter and Verizon Welcome. Plan benefits vary. Motorola Edge on us with 24 monthly bill credits and new line for well-qualified customers, plus tax and $35 per line connection charge. See details at T-Mobile.com. Motorola Edge requires 68-watt charger. Charger sold separately. Actual performance will vary based on usage and configuration.
Planning ahead is one of the greatest gifts you can give your family. I'm Tom Roper with Roper & Sons, and we invite you to join us for a free estate planning workshop on Tuesday, March 4th at 6 p.m. at our South Lincoln Chapel. Attorney Andrew Loudon will guide you through important documents like wills, trusts, and powers of attorney. A complimentary dinner will be served, and your questions will be answered. Call Roper & Sons or visit roperandsons.com to make a reservation.
Progressive presents Renter's MVP's Most Valuable Possessions. Today's MVP, Joe Fallon's bedroom mini fridge. Sure, this pint-sized chiller's max capacity is 3 soda cans, but what it lacks in stature, it makes up in cooling strength. Each beverage a perfect 37 degrees every time. And the 2 feet Joe walks to get a drink, priceless. That's why his mini fridge is today's MVP. Keep your most valuable possessions protected by bundling your renters and auto insurance with Progressive. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and other insurers not available in all states.
I'm Rick Julius, a partner at Cordell & Cordell. For over 3 decades, Cordell & Cordell has been on the front lines of family law. Divorce is more than just a legal process. It's a life-changing event that can impact your future, finances, and your relationship with your children. You've worked hard to build a life that you're proud of, and you deserve a legal partner who will work just as hard to protect it.
Schedule an appointment with one of Cordell & Cordell's Lincoln area attorneys. 1221 N Street, Suite 801, Lincoln, Nebraska 68508.
If you're considering a career in broadcasting, Alpha Media Lincoln and the Nebraska Broadcasters Association Foundation can help you become part of this exciting field. 3 $2,000 scholarships are available to 4-year college and university students who will have completed 30 credits as of May 31st, 2025. Let us help you reach your career goals. For more information, go to ne-va.org. Application deadline is March 1st, 2025.
We're back with more. It's the Average Joe Sports Show with Chris Schmidt and Elijah Herbel.
One final time, it's the Monday edition of the Average Joe Sports Show. Big thanks to Jay Moore. Big thanks to Charlie McBride. Big thanks to Tim Verghese. Find and follow. Watch again on YouTube at the Average Joe Sports Show. Also, the podcast on In Demand and Your Time, Spotify, and iTunes. It's good to have Elijah back from The Bachelor Party. We will get more in-depth of the shenanigans that went on with the Bachelor Party tomorrow on the Tuesday edition of the Average Joe Sports Show.
Oh, I forgot the one last thing that Frontier did, and I'm name dropping him again because I'm angry. We had some souvenir baseball bat mugs being brought back.
Did they break them?
No, TSA was fine with them. Frontier said, "Oh, this doesn't count as a personal item." So Frontier took these baseball bat like mugs, tossed them.
How were they glass and thick? Mugs?
They weren't glass. They were like a nicer plastic, I would say.
They did you a favor.
But those things were $40 a pop.
My dear Lord.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah, and Frontier just said, no, those can't come on the plane.
I'd have put someone in an ankle lock after
that.
I mean,
it was a frustrating day with
somebody's got to feel some physical harm after that.
I was upset with the little chick in Ireland breaking my nebulizer. You've got real reason to be mad.
Yeah, well, I texted you guys on the way back. This whole day.
I did not get to read it out loud. I was thinking about it, and then we got into basketball talk.
Oh, not to mention they couldn't figure out the jet gate, so we're just stuck on the plane in Omaha for 20 minutes.
All right, steak and a beer.
He's like, all right, Elijah, get off your soapbox.
No, you're good, dude. I understand.
Time to step down, old man.
Rage away. Nebraska, Michigan, about said Sparty. Michigan is favored by 1.5. What say you? Let's go steak and a beer. I don't think Michigan loses 2 in a row. I think Nebraska plays better, but not enough. This is one of those that they were probably or could drop pre-SC, pre-Rutgers, pre-Maryland. Right now, Nebraska's 10-3 at home. Nebraska's 0-3 on games decided by 4 or less. Michigan's won 9 games decided by 4 points or less. Over-under's 152. Michigan's got to stay at right around 70. Nebraska's not done that for a while. Give me Michigan 77, Nebraska 68.
To me,
you're not feeling it, are you? You're not feeling Nebraska tonight.
There's one big wild card, and it's Burke.
Okay.
He's going through warmups, listed as questionable on the availability report. If he's a go, Nebraska stands a chance. If he's not a go, Nebraska's going to get killed on the boards, and Nebraska will lose this game by probably 15.
Okay.
If not more. That's how I'm feeling. Am I off the base there?
Part of the Husker fandom, part of the student section. Justice, what say you?
I'm going to play devil's advocate on this one. I think Michigan throws the ball over the yard tonight. I think they try to play a little too fast, a little too free, a little too flashy, old Vegas style. I think they cough it up about 25 times, and I think Nebraska sneaks away.
That's a lot of turnovers.
Yeah, and guess what? Michigan's bottom 15 in the nation in them. They give them up. They give them up like candy at Halloween.
Will Nebraska be up to that task of being in your hip pocket defensively?
I think they
minutes?
will. I think Fred gave him a nice little butt chewing over the weekend.
I agree with that.
Sounded like kinder, gentler. I need to hug them, Fred, on Saturday.
But to me, it's if Michigan goes and grabs 10 offensive boards tonight, 15 offensive boards tonight, so they could do if Burke's not playing, I get concerned.
All right, pour one, and we'll see you at PBA. Talk tomorrow at 4 with the Average Joe Sports Show. Thanks.